Mandatory minicamp is behind the Eagles, my friend, and Howie Roseman is already taking notes. 2 intense days at the Jefferson Health Training Complex revealed truths that no rookie contract, no last season's track record, and no agent's promises can hide. When the helmets come off and the cameras are put away, what remains is performance, pure and simple. And this time, 8 players walked out of minicamp with their chances of making the Eagles' final roster seriously compromised. 8 names that will need a completely different training camp to save their jobs in Philadelphia. I'm going to tell you exactly who these players are, why each one had a minicamp to forget, and what each of them needs to do before training camp to save their spot. But first, if you're a diehard Eagles fan who doesn't want to miss a single roster update, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel, because training camp is coming, the pads are coming with it, and roster decisions won't wait for anyone. Mandatory minicamp is the last major test before the summer recess, the last chance to show the coaching staff that you deserve a spot on the 53-man roster. The Eagles are building a team with clear ambitions of getting back to the Super Bowl, and the coaching staff has no patience for players who can't keep up with the pace. Competition is fierce at almost every position, and it was in that environment that 8 Eagles hurt themselves significantly over these 2 sessions. Their names are Payton, Myles Hinton, Ty Robinson, Grant Calcaterra, Darius Cooper, Willie Lampkin, Cameron Williams, and Jakorian Bennett. Let's start with the player who may have the toughest job of all, quarterback Payton. Selected in the 5th round of the draft as a developmental project, Payton entered minicamp with modest expectations and still fell short of them. The young quarterback showed serious struggles reading defenses, made poor decisions under pressure, and displayed a release that was far too slow while trying to learn offensive coordinator Sean Mannion's system. Here's the thing, my friend. The Eagles do not keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster. And Howie Roseman's track record shows he doesn't lose any sleep cutting late-round quarterbacks who haven't convinced him. Payton has training camp to change the narrative. But right now, his situation is critical, and every single rep on the field is going to count. Versatility is a valuable asset in the NFL, and Myles Hinton has that going for him. But it may not be enough. The Eagles moved Hinton inside from tackle to guard during minicamp, a decision that signals the team is trying to find some use for him on the roster. One day he had the reps over Micah Morris. The next day, the coaching staff reshuffled the depth chart. That kind of instability is not a good sign. When a team has to shuffle a player from position to position just to try to justify keeping him around, it usually means that player hasn't proven he belongs there yet. Hinton will need an exceptional training camp and a clear definition of exactly where he best serves this team. Ty Robinson was selected in the 4th round of last year's draft, and in theory, 4th-round picks carry some natural roster protection. But the Eagles are one of the franchises that care the least about that, and Robinson is finding that out the hard way. Since last season, Byron Young has consistently outperformed him, and at minicamp, that pattern continued without hesitation. But the situation is even more complicated. The Eagles' defensive line is loaded with talent, and UR Bernard is expected to have a roster spot reserved for him. That means there is increasingly less room for Robinson. He will need a dramatic turnaround in training camp, or his name could show up on the cut list in September. Grant Calcaterra is a familiar name to Eagles fans. He has been a reliable backup tight end over the past few years, but reliable may not be enough in 2026. The Eagles are revamping the tight end position, and the current hierarchy does not favor Calcaterra. Stone Smartt is ahead of him on the depth chart, and Johnny Munt, who is also on a 1-year deal just like Calcaterra, finds himself in a much more solid position within the scheme. The real question becomes, what does Calcaterra offer that justifies a spot on the 53-man roster? Right now, the answer isn't clear, and in the current Eagles environment, doubt alone is enough to cost someone a roster spot. Calcaterra will need to reignite the value he showed in previous seasons, and he'll need to do it fast. The battle for wide receiver spots is one of the most competitive on the Eagles roster in 2026, and Darius Cooper is right in the middle of that fight. The problem is that 2 competitors stood out clearly at minicamp. Johnny Wilson and Elijah Moore turned in strong performances, while Cooper fell behind. The Eagles like Cooper and want to continue developing him, but sentiment doesn't guarantee a contract in the NFL. There's another element in this equation that complicates things further. Britton Covey could earn a roster spot specifically as a punt returner, which adds one more variable to an already crowded battle. And when the competition is this fierce, any detail can be the deciding factor. Cooper will need to show up with consistency at training camp, or that door could close before the preseason even begins. Willie Lampkin arrived in Philadelphia through an unusual route. He was claimed off waivers from the Rams last year, while still recovering from an injury that kept him sidelined for most of the season. Now back to full health. The expectation was that he would seize the opportunity and establish himself on the roster. But minicamp revealed a different reality. Lampkin couldn't separate himself from the pack in the wide-open backup guard battle, and he finds himself stuck on the third team. When roster spots are available but a player can't even crack the second team, that speaks much louder than any press statement or coaching staff intent. Cameron Williams was selected in the 6th round of last year's draft and spent most of the season on injured reserve. He was activated to the main roster and got to play in the final game of the regular season, but that moment has been, so far, the ceiling of his performance in Philadelphia. At minicamp, Williams was buried on the third team, behind Fred Johnson and Markel. Unless both of them suffer significant injuries, it's very unlikely Williams passes either one before the season begins. At this point in the preseason, he is training camp depth. That doesn't end his story with the Eagles, but the outlook for 2026 is bleak. And we arrive at perhaps the most intriguing case on this list. The cornerback who had his chance to be a starter last season and didn't seize the moment. Technically, he is a good player, but he may not be the right fit for the Eagles' defensive scheme. And at a position as competitive as cornerback, fit is everything. The Eagles already have their 3 starting cornerbacks locked in. Kelee Ringo is ahead of him on the depth chart, and Jonathan Jones is the top backup both on the outside and in the slot. Mathematically, there may simply be no room for Jakorian Bennett on the roster in 2026. He will need a standout training camp performance. But with the Eagles, standing out is only the starting point. What does all of this tell us about Howie Roseman's Eagles? That this is a roster with real depth, my friend. When 4th-round draft picks aren't guaranteed a spot, when veterans with years in the building are at risk, when former starters need to earn their positions back, that's a clear signal that the standard in Philadelphia is set high. Training camp, which kicks off in July, will be decisive for all of these players. The pads come on, contact begins, and evaluations become much clearer and much more unforgiving. The Eagles have no tolerance for mediocrity, and the 8 names on this list are being put on notice right now. Either deliver on the field, or the cut comes before September. With 8 players in a difficult spot, open battles across multiple positions, and a training camp that will redefine the Eagles roster, which of these players do you believe has the best shot at surprising everyone and earning their spot? And who do you think already has one foot out the door? Drop your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to keep you updated with the latest Eagles news.